We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Ian and this is the channel's all about music and art. This is a second part video on how to fit shims to a turntable cartridge. Now the first part of this video is linked down below, and so what we've got is we've got a Thorens TD180 turntable with an Ortofon D5E cartridge, I think it is. Cartridge is about £70. Recently bought it. Now the problem with this is that normally on certain turntables you'll get an adjustment here to adjust the height of the arm. That's not the case with the Thorens. So what we've had to do is we've had to put a series of shims. We've ended up putting all four. I bought these. They were ridiculously expensive, £17 for 4 bits of plastic, really. I couldn't find anything cheaper than that. What I have noticed is that the bolts, and I had to buy a whole set of bolts because they didn't come with the cartridge from Ortofon, and it's worth mentioning that Ortofon, bless you, least you could do when people are spending £70 upwards is put at least more than one set of bolts in. Anyway, that's a whole different story. What I've noticed is that the bag of bolts, and I'll link all this stuff down below, so if you want to get this stuff you can do. They sent a whole load of different size bolts, and there is another bolt here which I think might look better. The reason the bolts were turned upside down was because it's not tightened up yet, and we're going to do that shortly. The reason the bolts were was because I just thought it looked prettier with the bolts being upside down. These are also Allen key bolts, so I don't have to worry about trying to get a screwdriver underneath there. So I'm going to swap those bolts out for these bolts, which are just slightly shorter and will look slightly better, really. It's an aesthetic thing, really. So we'll put you there so you can see what I'm doing. Couple of things to note: the Stylus cover on an Ortofon cartridge keeps coming off, which is rather annoying. And I found some more bolts that are actually slightly shorter still, but look perfect now. So we're going to go with them. And actually, although I wasn't keen to buy a whole different set of different size bolts, they've come in very useful because you know, when you've got a job like this where you're not quite sure how things are going to be, it's quite useful to have a series of bolts that, I mean, I don't need them now, obviously. Once this job's done, it's finished. Now that looks so much better. So we're going to have to set the alignment of the cartridge, but also we're going to have to reset the balance of the tone arm because we've got using different bolts, and we've put these shims in which might add, I mean, they're plastic, so they shouldn't add a lot, but it's always better to double check everything. So we're going to start by putting this in the middle of the tone arm. I'm just going to finger tighten it up actually first. So we'll put the Allen wrench. It's actually too far back, really. I need to put it closer into the middle, I think. But actually what we might do is we might well, here it needs to be lined. It's not, you can see above there. The normal point would start with, you start in the middle and then you work backwards, forwards from there. It's not square, it's not straight at the moment either. So that we'll need to address that. But actually we're gonna, and as I showed in the last one, we've got a series of alignment. We've got 4 of these things. Now, sometimes these things are for particular turntables, but it's always, like that one is for an SME sort of S-shaped arm. But I like to check all these things with as many as possible. This one will also show the overhang arc, which is quite useful. The other ones don't tend to do that. And that's sometimes quite a good thing to just see how the arm is tracking through the arc. So that's quite useful. So now it's positioned more or less in the middle, and we'll start looking. So we leave a record on. We don't care about this record. It's a very old one and it's scratched already. I don't have many scratched records, but and let's just look at, we'll try the SME one first because this is probably the easiest to see. So we need the Stylus cover off, and we need it as a little dot. And then what you do is you look down as to whether it's straight in the head shell. And actually, that one looks pretty good actually. But we'll check it with one of the others. Now this one, I bought this cartridge alignment gauge quite a long time ago. It does it at 2 positions. If I just move this off, and I've just checked it. So we've got an X position there, which you might not be able to see because it's a mirror. X position there and an X position here. And what you do is you read off the distortion tracking error. And actually I've just done that for this one, and that positioning in the middle there is absolutely spot on. The other good thing about this one is that you can check the azimuth of the cartridge as well by looking at it on the mirror. So when you've got it on the, if I put it back in to there, what we should be able to see is it should mirror exactly down below as to what's up, so it's not out of alignment. Now we can't adjust this arm, but in a lot of arms if you've got a detachable head shell, there'll be some movement, so you'll need to check that. This one looks spot on. So that's, I mean, I'm quite happy with that. I can check it with the this one, which is obviously a very old SME one. This probably won't work very well because it's designed for a different type of, again, you do it in 2 positions. There's 1 position there, and then the idea, so you've got a position, 3 positions, sorry. So your central position is there, which when we look at it straight on, looks really good. Lift it up, put it to there, and there, and you'll see it's actually slightly out on this one, but I'm not surprised at that because it's designed specifically for the ALT one arm, which is a different arm. So I'm much more happier with that and that one. But I'll put some links down below to what I think is a good cartridge alignment tool that you can get probably from Amazon, something like that, because they'll be quite reasonably priced. So I'm happy to tighten that up now. The last 2 things I've got to do is I've got to adjust this. There's a little screw on here. there to heighten this thing, because it's actually too close to the record now. And then I'm going to do the tracking weight. I won't show those. There's lots of videos out there showing you how to set the tracking weight of a turntable. It is worth mentioning that I did buy a little tool. So I have a little gauge to check the weight. So just basically it's a little scales. And they're not expensive. Again, I'll link to it down below. Really useful little tool for this sort of thing. You're not doing it by sort of guesswork. You're actually, you can measure it exactly to whatever your cartridge weight. See, and always check the manufacturer's instructions as to what the weight range of the cartridge is. Okay, so thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Cheers now. Bye bye.